Hey y'all, Lex E. Rojas here, aka Dakota Wolmer, aka Dakota Wolf, coming at you live for only the second time this year being early for my live stream. Pat on the back. Anyway, I am here talking to you live because I just spent 3 weeks working on my year-end recap with nothing to show for it, and it's awful. So I decided to just go live and present you with what I got. So I wrote it all down here in my little journal, and I'll thank you to bear with me. So last year, I'm going all the way back to the end of 2024. Last year, I published The Mage Guardian on December 21st, which was obviously the winter solstice, and sold no copies until this year. Anyway, waiting for the train to go by. It's always so loud. So, unfortunately, Trump won the 2024 presidential election. And here we are. As you all know, ICE started kidnapping people, whether citizens or residents or not. And shipping them off to El Salvador, where they are tortured, starved, beaten, and altogether disregarded as human beings. So, sorry, this live stream was not meant to be an expose that was meant to air a couple weeks ago on CBS, but was pulled right at the last minute. Let's just talk about my year, as selfish as that sounds, with everything going on. That's what this whole live stream has been about. Just chronicling my life. Hi, Stephen Snow. Thank you for joining me. And hello. I don't know what you said because I do not read that language. And Jessica Barnes, hi. Oh, wow. 32 people. I'm not going to be able to say hi to everyone, so just hi, everyone. So in January, I got to work on my third and fourth books simultaneously, and accidentally mistook a Mage Stone sale for the Mage Guardian sale, but I corrected my mistake in a live stream to you guys. So, then there was the whole thing where my daughter broke my phone by breaking her headphones off in the headphone jack, and I had to get that replaced in February. And never forget that Trump denied the Epstein files even existed after running his entire platform on releasing them. Then in February, I was unable to go live for episode 6 because of said broken phone. So it ended up taking me another 3 weeks after that to finally go live for episode 7, for which I used my super old phone. And that month I also joined Fiverr, for which there should be a link in the description if you want to hire me to write you a script or a short story or what have you. I also started posting poetry to Patreon. Say that 10 times fast. Or even 3 times fast. Posting poetry to Patreon. Posting poetry to Patreon. Posting poetry to Patreon. That month also, Exorm Productions publicly released Where Flutter Darkest Desire, which is available on YouTube now, and the link for that is also down in the description. In March, I released a 2025 Winter Highlights reel after about 2 weeks without going live. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to share that recap in a live stream, so I just posted it. That at the end of March, I also joined Finch, for which there is also a link below. And in April, I got a few script commissions for more short films in the Where Flutter series. I had way too many social gatherings, which if you don't remember, you can go back and watch me complain about that. It's funny because right before that I was complaining that I don't get out enough and I don't socialize enough, and then I got like 3 parties in a row, like 3 weekends in a row where I was going to parties, and I was like so I also struggled with writer's block, and as well as brain fog, because I have ADHD, as if I haven't mentioned that enough this year. In May, also, I found out about the mail-in protest, mailing your letters to the White House and the Senate and what have you to, just flood them with, I don't want to say our demands, but more our concerns, and because, we deserve to be represented as who we are, not as the billionaires. I also, in May, updated the Mage Guardian manuscript, which is great because nobody had bought a copy yet, so nobody had to see the the mistakes I found in the original version. I also brought my kids to the Bronx Zoo for the first time ever, which was also my first time at the Bronx Zoo, so that was awesome and fun, and we had a good time. We didn't even see all of it, because there's just so much of it to see. So we'll definitely go back sometime. I also discussed the difference between Cinco de Mayo and the actual Mexican Independence Day, which is in September, not May. And May also marked the beginning of several boycotts. That month, I also had one interested party on Fiverr who gave me a pretty interesting concept for a script, and I even had started working on it. And I was like, hey, you can pay me anytime. And then he disappeared. Daniel, come back. I want to write your script for you. Also in May, I finally started speaking up more for the children of Palestine, something I wish I had been doing sooner and that the rest of the world had been doing sooner. I also did a lot of biking through Prospect Park because I had the opportunity and the means to do so. Absolutely adore. They serve sushi and froyo and boba tea, and they're just amazing. And their bathroom is wheelchair accessible, guys. Accessibility, yay! I think that month was also when the government started the ADHD and autism registry, which some states tried to make required. I don't know how successful any of those states were because I did not keep up with the news on that one. We were also apartment hunting in May, and I was getting sick a lot. Pushing myself too hard. And that's not good because it weakens your immune to be stressed. studies have shown this time and time again, and yet we stress ourselves out. Sorry, one of those Q&A stickers popped up again. Let's see, I also rejoiced a little bit in my colleagues' success, my acting colleagues' success, because I see a lot of them doing great things. I went to school with, the people I've worked with, and I'm so happy to see other creatives flourishing, you know? That month I also finally came to terms with the idea that ambition doesn't have to be negative. It doesn't have to be stepping on people's heads and shoulders, trying to climb the ladder of success. Like, ambition can be a positive thing, and it can be wielded for the greater good. Or at least it can be handled positively. There's the F train. June was Pride Month. So for those of you who don't know, I am a non-binary pansexual in a hetero-passing relationship. And for Pride Month, I had run a free ebook promotion for both the Mage Stone and the Mage Guardian, totaling in the majority of this year's sales, of which last I checked, I sold 77 copies of the Mage Stone and 57 copies of the Mage Guardian this year, totaling, about 130 downloads of the ebook. So that's awesome. Also in June, Ace Equals Death was published by Three German Shepherds Productions, and that is available on YouTube. The link is down below. We also entered the contest for America's Favorite Couple, which I had explained was because the reason that we decided to enter this contest was because our relationship had started thanks to a meme starring Jeff Goldblum, and this year Jeff Goldblum happened to be endorsing America's Favorite Couple, which made me feel like it was fate and I needed to enter us. So I did. And some of you may remember how that turned out, and if not, stay tuned because I'll get back to that. I also had a new script idea based on my own parting catchphrase, lead with empathy. Friday the 13th was in June. Y'all know that's my favorite Friday. That was my episode 22 was streamed on Friday the 13th, and I talked about why it's my favorite Friday. Part of the reason being that one of my children was born on a Friday the 13th in October. So in June, I took off work for my birthday, which is June 17th, and I was gonna go to the Build Expo, which is like a convention for creatives and filmmakers and stuff, and I ended up skipping it because I'm a little bit flaky these days. I also started journaling in June so that I could do better weekly vlogs, keep you guys more informed. Somebody had asked me a question. Oh, I also lost on my birthday. That was crazy. Or right before my birthday, the weekend before my birthday, we went to Staten Island for a friend's birthday party, and I accidentally dropped my phone in I think it was a Lyft, and then that person drove for both Lyft and Uber. So then the next person who summoned that vehicle, the next group of people who summoned that vehicle, ended up somebody their group. They laid the phone from a deli near their apartment and got my phone back like a day or two before my birthday. I was like, heck yeah, happy early birthday to me, you know? What good fortune. I also almost forgot to mention that in May, I received the first episode script for this web series that we're going to start filming in 2026. And it was very exciting because it's very entertaining. It's just hilarious. And I really can't wait to start working on it. And I've even been helping cast it since then. But we'll get back to that also. So somebody at the end of June had asked me if they should get back in contact with their ex because they're still in love with them and think the person deserves to know. And I'm like, well, if they know, leave them alone because, you know, consent is like everything. But if you just need to get it off your chest, be like, I still love you, but if you don't love me back, that's fine. Then go ahead, say it, but you're gonna have to accept that if they don't love you back, they don't love you back. You can't do anything about it, and you're gonna have to learn to move on. So obviously, like I said, June was my birth month as well as Pride Month. So for my birthday, we went to the nail salon and watched Stargate SG-1 and had sushi, and it's great. I also discovered a way to do back pain friendly crunches because if you don't know this about me already, I have chronic back pain since I was 7. So I found ways to do crunches to get around that, and I can show you guys. I've been meaning to upload a video to help other people who also have chronic back pain but want to improve their core strength and their health overall. I abandoned my short film that I had started writing on. I had started writing it like a couple months before that, and I finally was I was applying for union status, and then I just kind of abandoned it because it needed me to upload my passport, and I never got around to it. So hopefully I'll get back to that this year and I can make that short film because I think it's actually really great. But maybe I'm a little biased because I wrote it. Yeah. Then there was the Omni takeover of the MTA, where without warning they just ripped out the MetroCard machines and replaced them with Omni machines. Super fun. In July, for the first live stream of July, well, the first vlog entry of July, I actually did a series of mini vlogs that I compiled together and released on American Independence Day because I was busy doing things with my family that day, so I wasn't going to be able to live stream. And at that time, I thought it wasn't going to get views because people tend to my live streams over my pre-made and uploaded videos. And going back to review all of my vlog entries for this recap, I found that was actually my most popular vlog entry out of all of them. So I might actually start doing my vlog entries that way from now on, because it's a little bit easier for me, and apparently it's more successful than my live streams. So we'll see. Unfortunately, in July, we also had a rejected rental application. That's a tear running down my face. So yeah. We continued. So America's Favorite Couple finally, like, the competition actually started in July. And thanks to you guys, we went from 18th to 6th place in our group in the contest within our bracket. And there was a bridesmaid fitting for my friend's wedding, which is coming up 2026. I think it's on Halloween. Yes, Halloween. I'm one of her bridesmaids. I'm so excited. Sandra. Yeah. Anyway, that same day, some random lady made me fall off the bus. If you don't remember this, what happened was this middle-aged woman offered to help me with the stroller when getting off the bus. And normally I say no to these things because I'm allergic to help. And something came over me to say, okay, yeah, I'll let her help. So she grabs the thing like she's going to help. And then as I'm moving the stroller, she suddenly lets go. And I and the stroller with the toddler inside of it fall off the bus. Like, don't offer to help if you're not gonna help. Excuse my language. But one more F-bomb because of the big beautiful bill. Anyway. I also in July started sketching for the graphic novel version of The Mage Stone, which I have not done very much work on since, because I have so many projects going on at one time that I also did some background work and got to be in a scene with Natalie Portman, so that was cool. I took my daughter to a total of 2 Taekwondo lessons because there was like a special to do 2 for $20. And I'd like to bring her back to Taekwondo if I ever have enough money, because I think it'd be good for her, teach her some discipline, also self-defense. Then there was like a Microsoft malfunction where I thought I had lost all my files, but it turns out they just like disappeared off the recently used thing, and I was able to find them, and everything's okay now. Also in July, they took away the green screen. There's no green screen on the live videos anymore. And while bringing my daughter to one of these Taekwondo lessons that I mentioned before, we actually saw an advertisement for a paint and snack event at a bank over there. Which, like, obviously a ploy to get people to open savings accounts for their kids, but, like, whatever. We went, and the kids painted these beautiful little piggy banks, which cannot fit anything larger than a penny. Like, you can only do pennies and dimes in it because the hole on the bottom, the coins won't come out, so you're gonna have to smash it if you put, like, nickels or quarters in there. Then in August, I had that episode where I talked about sitting at the DMV for 7 hours, and I still never went back to fix my licensing stuff. So I'm just out here without a driver's license and without a learner's permit even, because my license expired and it's been over 2 years, so now I have to go back and get the learner's permit and do all that crap. Also in August, we made it to 3rd place in the second to last round of America's Favorite Couple, and we made it just shy of that last bracket, that last chance to possibly make it to 1st place and get that article in Vanity magazine. But it was fun while it lasted, and it was amazing to see all the support from you guys. and we really appreciated it. But since we ended up losing, I was freed up from my obligations of being part of a popularity contest to get a little bit more political. You know, I was able to, I felt more liberated to be to be vocal regarding my political views. And I also discussed my people-pleasing nature, which is something I still struggle with, because like how can you be true to yourself when you're too worried about pleasing others, you know, everyone else happy. And you know, it's just an upward battle. It's a constant thing that people pleasers have to try to fight for our sense of self, I think. And near the end of the month in August, we went to Brooklyn Bar, a pet store in Brooklyn, for a Freak on a Leash Badass Animal Rescue event, and a link for Badass Animal Rescue will be down in the description if you want to support them, because they are a badass animal rescue. In September, I got lots of writing done. I've even since then had to break up my book into 3 separate documents. So now I'm working on 3 books simultaneously. Send help. And school started back up, so my 8-year-old and I were riding bicycles to school every morning, as long as it didn't rain, you know. And then I wrote a poem about Microsoft because it pissed me off. Like, it wasn't letting me open my documents on the train, so I wrote a poem to vent my frustrations, and I shared it, and I think a link to that will be in the description. If not, just go to my Patreon, it should be there. Yeah. Then, so my husband had his second ER visit of the year. His first one having been on Chinese New Year, which was the 7th of whatever month that was. 7th of January? I don't know. February? 7th? I don't remember. Why do I know it was the 7th? I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, so he had his second ER visit, this being to a hospital closer to us, where he ended up storming out of the hospital without even signing an affidavit because they kept forgetting to feed him. It was that hospital again where they were forgetting to feed him. This is the second time they've done this to him. And he's diabetic. He has to eat. He has to eat. Like, everyone has to eat, obviously, but, like, he's diabetic. September is also our anniversary, which I've explained in the past, is a 3-day event because, when we got together, there's no, like, concrete way of determining which of those 3 days was really the first day of our relationship, so we just celebrate them up. And that was, of course, after Mexican Independence Day, which is at the beginning of September. I asked an actor friend of mine who's out in California, who's, well, bi-coastal, but spends most of their time in California, to do the audiobook for Stone, and they sent me an email because I gave them like an arbitrary deadline just to light a fire under their butt because they asked me to, and they sent me an email asking for an extension, but in that same email called my book an absolute joy to reread, which I didn't even know they had actually read it before in the first place, and that was just like really nice to hear, because they are a person whose opinion I highly value. And shortly after that, I sold a signed copy of The Mage Stone to someone who works in the same area as me, and we've chatted a few times, and we're kind of friends now. And I was going to give it to her for free, but she insisted on paying. The sequel are both available in the description. So yes, definitely check out my books, please. I'd really appreciate it. We also lightened my older daughter's hair because she wanted to go blonde and then pink, and it didn't get as lightened as we had hoped it would, but that's mostly because we don't want to leave the bleach on her head too long. She's only 8. At the time she was 7 because it was September, which kind of brings me to this, like, do you feel like dyeing a child's hair is something that's okay because it's freedom of expression, or do you think it's just too damaging? You know what I mean? I don't know, let me know what you think, because I feel like it's this freedom of expression thing, you know? I got my hair dyed when I was in 3rd grade, and at least I let my child choose the color. Like, I didn't get to choose. My mom just gave me highlights because she wanted me to look pretty for my brother's wedding, you know? Like, I feel like that's not, I don't feel like letting your child choose to do something with their hair is a bad thing, like, because your hair grows back, you know what I mean? Anyway, so also near the end of September, which was actually one of the days that qualifies as my anniversary, I made a bet with my boss that he told me I couldn't lose 30 pounds in 6 months. So I stepped on the scale, weighed in at 235 with all my clothes on, so I knocked it down to 232 for my records. And I also talked about it in a live stream where I discussed the difference between fat phobia and valuing your health, because, like, I'm not trying to lose weight just for the sake of, like, looking better or whatever. It's literally, like, I have knee and back problems, as many of you might already know. So, like, it's something that's kind of necessary. Coke, don't play hard to get. Coke isn't hard to get. Just go to the store and buy one. Anyway, I don't like Coca-Cola personally, but if that's what you're into, go buy it. Weighed in at 218 with clothes on, so I'm over halfway there, and I'm very excited. I'm gonna win that Monday, and also I'm gonna hopefully feel better because there will be less pressure on my knees. I also contemplated whether I genuinely have depression or I just have symptoms of ADHD that present as depression. I have no idea, honestly. October, we saw the effects of Bluey mania, being that my daughter requested a completely Bluey themed birthday party. So we had Bluey decorations, a Bluey cake, Bluey games, and even for Christmas this year, skipping ahead a little, they got all, like, Bluey Bluey gifts and stuff, just like crazy. Wow. I also in October reached my 200th day on Finch, which I feel like is an accomplishment because I am not usually consistent with, like, anything like that much, but I've been really consistent with that, and I'm really proud of myself. I've been really consistent with this, with doing my vlog entries too. Even if I skip a couple weeks here and there, I always come back to it. So I'm proud of myself for that too, for this. I also discussed how we are all stronger together, and that is how progress happens, because it's true. A peace treaty was signed between Israel and Palestine, but Israel is still making their lives difficult, unfortunately. We I discussed Indigenous Peoples Day, which is the updated it's the holiday that currently occupies the space that used to be Columbus Day, because Christopher Columbus was kind of a piece of shit. So we now honor the indigenous people who were here before he, quote unquote, found the land. And my daughter has been getting bullied again this year, and I've been trying to be really on top of it with the school and in communication with them to make sure this doesn't continue. For Halloween, the whole family went as the family from Bob's Burgers. Well, not the whole family, like my husband, my kids, and I went as the and then my brother-in-law went as Teddy, and the other one went as CM Punk. So, and my mother-in-law didn't dress up. But we did end up getting featured by the Bob's Burgers official Instagram, so that was pretty cool. In November, I opened my fourth wall shop, so now the link for that should be in the description also, and there are t-shirts available, and I think a candle, and I hope to get more merchandise up in the fourth wall shop very soon. I've just been having a lot of technical difficulties with that. Also, I live in New York City, so it's significant to mention that we now, that Mamdani was elected, and he is the first Muslim mayoral elect of New York City. I don't think he's been inaugurated yet, right? I don't know how that works. I think he would be inaugurated this coming year. I also was in the process of applying to NYCHA, and Trump tried to withhold SNAP benefits, and that didn't end well for him, because eventually he was forced to give them back. So thanks for giving me my food back so I can feed my children. Appreciate it. We had a scare where I thought that we were getting hand, foot, mouth disease because my daughter had like bumps on her foot, and I was so terrified, but luckily that was not the case. I also noticed when I was going back and reviewing the vlog entries for this recap that episode 42, which I titled The Answer to Life, the Universe, and Everything, had 42 views. I thought that was so funny. Unfortunately, that month my hubby had his third ER visit of the year. This time he went to a much better hospital where they took better care of him, and they really got him on the right track, and now he is taking better care of his health and eating right and tracking his blood pressure and blood sugar and taking his medicine, and really hoping that he won't need like any drastic medical care for a long time, and he'll stay with us for a long time. Shortly after that, we had the first read-through of the web series that I'm super excited about, but can't give you too much information. I've been helping with the SAG paperwork as well as casting. I haven't done much with the SAG paperwork yet because we don't start filming until April, so I considered going back to commercial acting, not going back to, but going to doing more commercial acting to make money for the family, but I just, for personal reasons, I'm just not going to do that at this time. Thanksgiving was cool. I learned about some of the pre-colonial origins of Thanksgiving traditions. Apparently the Native Americans had their own traditions around that time for Thanksgiving, which obviously it wasn't called Thanksgiving at that time, but they did have like festivals and traditions that they practiced at that time that you can totally look up and learn more about. In December, I discovered a new skill of mine that apparently I can look at the moon and tell what phase it's in just by looking at it. So that's pretty awesome. Which you don't have to believe me, but I believe me because it happened and it's real. I wrote something here about dodging scammers. I don't know what that is. Maybe I just been like, they call a lot and I ask them who they're looking for, where they're calling from. And I've been getting a lot of calls from this place that says it's called Unison, and I'm like, okay, what is Unison? What does Unison do? And they're like, well, we can't give you any information. I'm like, you can't even tell me what the company does. And eventually they either hang up on me or I hang up on them. But I never admit that I am Dakota Wilmer because it's none of the scammer's business. I obviously missed 3 log entries, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, because I was trying to put together the recap, and I have nothing to show for it, and that's why I ended up just writing everything down that I wanted to talk about and going live. Yeah. Whew. At the end of November, I bought 30 Christmas cards, and in December, I lost them. So then I didn't find them again until like a few days before Christmas, and I'm like, they're not going out. I even had printed out pictures of our family from like my daughter's birthday party, and I was ready to send them out with the cards, and I might still send them out and just say they're Groundhog's Day cards. Yeah, we spent way too much on Christmas this year, but it was worth it to see the smiling faces of my children. And we still have 3 Kings Day coming up. With that, I would like to thank you all so much for helping me get from under 100 subscribers at the beginning of this year. I think I only had like 78 or something like that at the beginning of the year, to now 160 subscribers. So thank you guys so much for all of your support. You guys are amazing. I love interacting with the chat. And Babcock, 61 subscribers. Woo! Maybe even more than that. I haven't looked. Just that's the only person who said he did today. Anyway, thank you guys so much for all your support. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Make sure to share with your friends, and have a great, happy new year. And remember always to lead with empathy.